Hi friends, welcome back. Today's video is super exciting. In today's video, I'm going to be reading fairy tale retellings. I'm hoping to make this a series, so this is just the first part of many. This first one that we're going to be doing is Cinderella, so I'm going to be reading the original Cinderella story and a few Cinderella retellings. If you are not subscribed already, make sure you subscribe down below. I post every Wednesday and sometimes Sundays. Comment down below your favorite princess story. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Like I said, in today's video we're going to be reading Cinderella retellings. I'm going to start by reading the Hans Christian Andersen Cinderella story. This is the original Cinderella story that all of the other retellings and the Disney Cinderella story came from. So I wanted to start at the source and then see how authors have sort of taken their own spin on it. I think that fairy tale retellings are so interesting because obviously we know that Disney's done like so many of them and they're like the classic representations of the stories, but then if you go back to the original story, it's actually quite different from what the Disney movie was. And then if you move into other retellings, those get really different. You can kind of like take the thread of the story and really run with it. So I'm super excited about this. Let me know down below if there are any other fairy tales that you're interested in me doing as part of my series. I will link down below the books, obviously, and then the Cinderella story that I'm reading from Hans Christian Andersen. It is called Cinderella or the Little Glass Slipper. It's only like 25 pages and they're pretty short pages. There's like hardly any text on them. And this one is with illustrations, so I'm definitely gonna read this one first. Then, once I've read that, I found 3 Cinderella retellings. I had a really difficult time doing research for this, finding adult versions of these stories that weren't like trashy romance novels. I wanted something with like a little more plot, and so I have 1 youth fiction book and 2 YA books, which should be fun. The first one I have is a classic, Ella Enchanted. I never actually read this as a kid. I did just recently watch this movie for the first time, so I'm interested to see like how this book compares to the movie, if there's any similarities or if they're very different. So I'll be reading Ella Enchanted. Then I'll be reading Cinder, which I feel like has gotten a little bit of buzz recently. I saw this a lot when I was in middle school, but I never ended up reading it. I think it's sort of like sci-fi dystopian fantasy, and it is a part of a series, so if I love this then maybe I'll keep reading in the series. If not, I'll just read this one, but I think this is the one I'm most excited for. And then this one, which I'm like a couple chapters into, is called Ash by Melinda Lowe. And the reason I chose this one is, one, because I've read a book by Melinda Lowe before. She wrote Last Night at the Telegraph Club, which is a great queer lit story about being queer in the 50s. This one is a sapphic retelling of Cinderella, and I think the premise is she has to marry this prince, but her true love is like this huntress or like some woman. This is also YA, so I think this one will be really fun. It's been a little bit tough for me to get into right away just because it's told in a very like fairy tale-esque style writing. Definitely sounds like somebody's like writing a storybook to you. But all right, so these are the 3 books I'll be reading in this video. I will take you along as I read them. I think I'm gonna read the fairy tale, the Hans Christian Andersen story now before I get too deep into any of these, and then I will keep you updated as I read them. Hey guys, it's bedtime, so I'm reading in bed, but I'm reading the Hans Christian Andersen Cinderella story right now, and I literally just started it, but I want to turn on the camera because within the first page they like introduce her and then her mom gives her advice and then she's like, and then her mom died. It happens like right away. So anyway, I'm gonna sit here and read this. I'll let you know what I think when I'm done. If I don't fall asleep first, who's to say? I feel like that was exactly like the Cinderella like Disney movie. I haven't seen it in a really long time, so I may be misremembering, but I feel like it followed the exact same plot line. And I don't know where I read this version, but I could have sworn in the original version that the stepsisters, one of them cuts off her toe to fit into the slipper. And this one she was like, oh haha, it doesn't fit, and then Cinderella's like, let me try it on, and then it fits her, and it just all felt like very like fast. I will have to do a little more research on the Grimm Brothers version. I thought the Hans Christian Andersen one was the original one, but it seems like it's just a retelling. I will talk to you guys after I've done a little bit more research. I think I'll probably read the Grimm Brothers version now that I've read more about it. It sounds like that one's more, I don't know, it just sounds like that's another like older version of it. I'm gonna read this one as I fall asleep, try to get into it a little bit more, and I will talk to you guys probably tomorrow. Hi guys, I just finished filming my March TBR. If you haven't watched that, I'll link it in the cards up here, but I wanted to give you a little update on my Cinderella reading. I'm about 60 pages into this book, Ash. So far, I'm liking it. I'm not loving it. It's written in a style that's very like fairy tale, like the way that it's told sounds like how a fairy tale is told, but because of that, I'm finding it kind of difficult to read. It's definitely following the Cinderella plot lines that I'm familiar with, which is cool. So I'm interested to see how it progresses, because I know there's sort of like a queer love twist in it, so keep you updated here. The other thing that I said I was going to do was read the Grimm Brothers Cinderella story. I did that the other day, and that's the Cinderella story that I definitely remember reading. I've read that one before for sure, where they cut the stepsisters cut their heels off to fit into the shoes. It's kind of like gruesome and crazy, but it definitely was similar to the Hans Christian Andersen one I read. So I will make sure both of those are linked down below so you can read them if you're interested. They're like quick. Each of them took me like 10 minutes maybe max to read, so it's cool to sort of have that foundation to read these. That's the update for now. I will let you know as I get more into this sort of what my thoughts are, and when I pick up any of the other books. I finished this book a few days ago. Basically, I didn't update because my thoughts from the last time I talked about it have stayed the same. It was a very mediocre retelling of Cinderella. Basically, she like took the Cinderella plot, like the original story, and really did not change that much. I think that she could have taken this in a really fun direction, and it was just kind of like boring. Like I just felt really bored the whole time. I really wouldn't recommend this. I ended up reading it at 2.75. On the scale of closeness to the original story, I'm gonna give this a 4.5. It was extremely similar. On the scale of creativity, I'm gonna give this a 2. I don't think it really strayed far from the Cinderella story. My like normal rating of it was a 2.75. Yeah, I think that's what the 3 ratings I'll give all these books are. But for this first one, it wasn't one that I really enjoyed very much. I wouldn't really recommend it. And I was excited about it, kind of under-delivered. So that's my opinion on Ash. I am reading Ella Enchanted now, so I will give you guys some updates as I read that. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have for now. Hi guys, I am reading Ella Enchanted now. I don't think I've talked since I started this book, so I'll give you a little bit of an in-depth review so far. If you don't know, Ella Enchanted is about a girl named Ella of Frel who gets cursed as a young child to do everything anyone commands her. So somebody is like, stand up, she must stand up. Like she has to do anything anyone tells her to do. This book came out before the movie, and I'm noticing as I'm reading it lots of similarities to the movie. There are some parts where the plot like separates a little bit, but where the plot is a little bit different, but it's really fun, and Ella is like, she's kind of slay. I just really like her a lot. Like, she's just super fun. She's definitely kind of sassy. Anyway, I am quite enjoying this. On page 156 of about 230, I have this much left. Yeah, I think so far it's really fun. It's definitely like not the Cinderella story necessarily. Like there's the stepmother and the stepsisters and the father that doesn't really know her and the mother that dies, but there's so much more involved to it that I'm really enjoying this one, especially compared to how Ash was, where it just was like Cinderella but like boring. Anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on Ella Enchanted so far. I'm probably gonna go finish this now, and I will talk to you guys when I'm done. Hi guys, I finished Ella Enchanted this morning and I wanted to talk about it. I actually quite enjoyed this. My opinions are I thought it was fun. Ella's really spunky. I like her character a lot. I like how her stepsisters were mean, but not like evil villains. And same thing with the stepmom. And I just thought like all the characters in this were really, really fun. On my rating scale, I gave this book a 3.75 stars. It was fun, but it was just like a youth fic book. Didn't blow me away, but I did enjoy reading it. On the Cinderella story similarity scale, I would give this a 3.5. Definitely was creative and found some fun little twists and ways to make this unique from the Cinderella story, but there were a lot of parts from the Cinderella fairy tale that the Grimm brothers wrote that made its way into this book, which I thought was fun. And then on the creativity scale, I would give this a 4 stars. I think it was fun, and definitely because I've seen the movie first, I was comparing it to that, but if I had read this as a kid, I definitely would have really enjoyed it. It makes me wish that I had read this when I was younger. So now we are on our last book for this video, which is the one I was most excited for. This is Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is about a cyborg, so like a human robot. I am 1 or 2 chapters in. Not much has happened. So far I like the writing style. Like, I think I'm gonna enjoy this. I think it will be fun and unique. Cinder in this book has already met the prince like 5 pages in, which I think is interesting. I'm interested in the world building here. If I like this enough, then maybe I'll read the other books in this series. Anyway, I'm gonna read some more of this now, and I have the audiobook out on Libby for a couple more days, so I'll hopefully be able to listen to the audiobook over the next couple of days. Once I get into this a little more, I will update you guys and let you know what I'm thinking. Hi guys, I wanted to give an update because I just got to book 2. I guess I don't know how many books there are in this book, but like section 2 in this book today. I've passed a point in the book where like now I'm excited and I want to keep reading. The chapters are pretty quick, but something I realized as I was reading the header for book 2, which says there was no bed for her, and at night when she had worked herself weary, she had to sleep by the hearth in the ashes. I didn't realize this when I read section 1, which says, while her sisters were given beautiful dresses and fine slippers, Cinderella only had a filthy smock and wooden shoes. I went back into the Grimm brothers version, and those almost exact words are in there, which is so interesting that they're using like the original fairy tale to frame the story. It's been fun to read these retellings because then you get like little tidbits, things like that I wouldn't have really recognized otherwise if I hadn't read the fairy tales first. So I'm enjoying this. It's definitely like we've got like the stepsisters and the stepmother and the disappearing dead father, the prince, like the elements of the Cinderella story, but it's very like, it's very different. I love like dystopian sci-fi future novel. I'm enjoying it for sure. So I'm gonna read some more of this before I go to bed, and I will update you probably when I meet like halfway, or unless something else interesting happens. Hi guys, I am just starting part 3 of Cinder, so I'm about halfway done now, page-wise. I am enjoying it. Like, when I sit down to read it, it's reading really quick. I just haven't had time this week to sit down and read it, so I'm hoping to finish this today. I am cozied up on the couch. I've got my rainy cafe music playing on the TV, and I'm gonna sit here and read before I have to go out and do a couple things, and then I think I will finish the rest of this book tonight. I really do like Cinder. She's like a really kind of sassy, fun main character, and I like her connection to the prince. This book is definitely really creative in terms of a Cinderella retelling, but I can tell that it's rooted in the Cinderella story, so it's very interesting, but I'm enjoying it so far. I'll keep you guys updated. I've been reading for almost an hour here. I am on page 270. For sure gonna finish this tonight. I have some errands that I have to do now, so I can't keep reading, but this book is definitely a page turner. Like every time the chapters are pretty short, I want to just keep reading to find out what happens next. The universe that's created in here is really good, and like I said, I love the characters. I want to know what's going to happen, but I can't keep reading right now, so you will be hearing more from me as I continue to read this, but just know I am really enjoying this. This is my favorite of the 3 books I've read in this video, so very exciting. Hi guys, I am now less than 100 pages from finishing Cinder, and I think as long as I can stay awake, I'm getting kind of sleepy, but I think I'm gonna sit and finish it now. Something interesting that just happened that I see like parallels to the original Cinderella fairy tale is one of Cinder's stepsisters came and knocked over like a bucket of tools, and she was like, you must pick this up now. Like it felt very like the scene in the Cinderella fairy tale where they spilled all the peas and whatever on the floor and she had to pick out all the peas. Hi my friends, I wanted to come on here and talk about Cinder because I finished it right as I fell asleep last night. I literally, the last 4 pages was fighting to keep my eyes open. I laid in bed when I had like 15 pages left, and I was like, okay, I'm awake, I'm gonna finish this, and then like the last couple pages, I was like, you can't fall asleep yet, you have to finish the book. So I finished. I really enjoyed this. It ended on definitely a cliffhanger, so I think I'm gonna have to read the rest of this series. Okay, in the scores that I was giving the other books, I would rate this one 5 for creativity. Definitely out of the 3, this was the most creative take on the Cinderella story, and you could clearly see the Cinderella thread throughout this story, which is cool. Like you can definitely tell that the author took from the original fairy tale, but like completely made it her own with this dystopian future sci-fi sort of world. So yeah, creativity 5, closeness to the Cinderella story, I would say like 4, because it definitely was inspired by it, but I feel like it was done in its own way so well. And then I would actually rate it a 4 stars. So would definitely recommend this. This is a fun YA series I haven't ever read before. I've heard people talk about Marissa Meyer. She also wrote, I think, the Renegades series. So that is all I have for you guys in this video today. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. This was really fun to read the original fairy tale and then read some retellings. It's cool how people can take a story in different directions and make it their own, especially something that's so classic like Cinderella. I would love to do more of these, so let me know down in the comments what you want me to do for the next fairy tale. I'm thinking The Little Mermaid, maybe Beauty and the Beast, but if there are any fairy tales that you know that have a lot of good retellings or fairy tale retellings that you've read that you love, let me know in the comments because I would love some suggestions. And again, make sure you're subscribed and I will see you next time. Bye friends!